The Kingdom of My Divine Will in the Midst of Creatures. Book of Heaven, Volume 36, Part 7. June 20th, 1938. One who lives in the divine volition is in continuous communication with God. New birth and rising love. How it gives happiness and joy to all. How Jesus himself will become the vigilant custodian of these writings, the interest being all his own. I am under the empire of the divine will. Its power raises me in its center. Its love, embalming me, brings me its celestial air. Its light purifies, embellishes, transforms me, enclosing me in the range of the divine will, so that all is forgotten. So great and so many are the joys, so enchanting the scenes of the Supreme Being, that one remains enraptured. O divine will, how I'd love for all to know you, to enjoy joys so pure, gladness so ineffable, which can be found only in you. And while my mind was feeling such an unspeakable happiness, my beloved Jesus, repeating his short little visit, all goodness, told me, "My little daughter of my will, see how beautiful it is to live in my will." We are in continuous communication with the creature. We prepare for her new joys for every new act she does, to make her more and more happy in our residence. The actions done in the fiat remain always in the act of being done. Our life rises again continuously. Our love ascends, and investing everyone with its waves, calls all into that act, so that all would repeat it. And we hear the echo of them, loving and glorifying us. The angels and the saints are all attentive, and anxiously long for the act of the creature done in our will. Do you know why? Because in this way they receive double glory, the glory of heaven, and the new glory, joy, and happiness of the act done in my fiat. How grateful they are to me, and how much they love the creatures that redouble for them new happiness and endless joys. Who would not love the one who lives in my will, the one who gives us joys and happiness, the one who gives us the great glory of letting us do what we want in her, the one who gives happiness and joys to all? There is no good that does not come from her. Therefore, one who lives in our will is not subject to discouragement or fear. Distrust just does not find its way in, because the creature possesses everything. She feels as though she were the owner of everything, and she takes what she wants. Her life is nothing other than our love and will, to the extent that she even suffers our same love follies, and would be happy to give her life for anyone, to give us the glory of making our will known. After this, I was feeling concerned for these blessed writings here, and for the insistence of my beloved Jesus in wanting me to keep writing? After so many sacrifices, where will they end up? And my Jesus, interrupting my thinking, told me, "My daughter, do not trouble yourself. I will be their vigilant custodian. They cost me too much. They cost me my will that enters these writings as primary life. I could call them testament of love, which my will does for the creatures. It donates itself and calls them in its heritage, but with such supplicant, attractive, loving modes that only the hearts of stone will not be moved to compassion and will not feel the need to receive such a great good. Therefore, these writings are full of divine lives which cannot be destroyed. If anyone tried to do so, the same would happen to him as to one who would try to destroy heaven. Offended, it would fall back upon him from every side, annihilating him under its blue vault. Or as to one trying to destroy the sun, which would laugh at him and burn him up. Or as to another one who would want to destroy the waters of the sea and be drowned by them. It would take too much to touch what I made you write on my will. I can call this a new living and speaking creation. It will be the last display of my love to the human generations. You must know that at each word I have you write on my fiat, I double my love for you and for those who will read them, to make them remain embalmed by my love. Therefore, as you write, you give me the space to love you more. I see the great good these writings will do for you. I feel each one of my words, and the palpitating lives of the creatures who will know the goodness of my word, forming within themselves the life of my will. So, the interest is all mine, and you leave everything to me. You must know that these writings came out of the center of the great sun of my will, whose rays are full of the truths coming from this center, and embrace all times, all centuries, all generations. This great wheel of light fills heaven and earth, and through light it knocks at every heart, praying, begging them to receive the palpitating life of my fiat, which our paternal goodness condescended and deigned to dictate from within its center with the most unusual, charming, affable, sweet modes, and with such a great love as to seem almost incredible, to astound the very angels. Each word can be called a portent of love, one greater than the other. Therefore, trying to touch these writings is wanting to touch myself, the center of my love, the loving finesses with which I love creatures. I will know how to defend myself and confound anyone who would slightly disapprove of even one word of what is written on my divine will. Therefore, continue to listen to me, my daughter. Do not obstruct my love. Do not tie my arms by rejecting back into my womb what you keep writing. These writings cost me too much. They cost me as much as myself. Therefore, I will take so much care of them that I will not allow even a word to be lost. Fiat. June 26, 1938. The human will, united to the divine will, can also do prodigies. But without the divine will, it is like a poor cripple. One who lives in the divine will acquires the conquering act. I am always in the arms of the divine will. Its light puts to flight the night of my will. Its beauty enraptures me. Its love chains me so much that I cannot find the way to get out of its womb of light. I don't know why, but I was scared and afraid of my will. And my dear Jesus, visiting my little soul, told me, "My blessed daughter, the human will together with my will can do prodigies too. However, without my will, it is a poor cripple, completely unable to help herself. Without my will, it remains like a pupil without his master. Poor him! Without his master, he will always remain ignorant, with neither science nor art, incapable of earning even a piece of bread for living. The human will without my will is again like a person with legs but no feet, arms without hands, eyes without pupils, head with no reason. Poor creature! What an abyss of miseries in which she finds herself! One would say it would be better if she was never born. So the most terrible and frightening thing is, for her, not living united with my will. All the misfortunes just fall upon her. But if she is united with my will, she will have, inside of it, her master at her disposal, who will teach her the highest and most difficult sciences, the most beautiful art, so much as to become a portent of science on earth and in heaven. The human will together with mine will have human legs and divine feet, which will make it run on the way of good without ever tiring. It will have human arms and divine motion, providing the virtue for doing the greatest works, which make it most like its Creator. With our divine motion, it will embrace eternity. It will keep us always corded and tightly close to its heart. United to our will, it will have a human mouth, but word and voice will be divine. Oh, how well we will speak of our Supreme Being! In sum, it will have the pupil of our eye, so that, looking at all created things, it will recognize in them our life, our love, and the way to love us. United to our will, it will have a divine mind. It will feel a sort of innate knowledge, which will form the man in order. all in the order of his Creator. Everything will turn into good, or better still, there is no good he will not possess by living in our will. Our will means the true failure of all evils, of all misfortunes, and it calls back to life all goods, since it possesses their source. Furthermore, for one who lives in our will, each motion, breath, heartbeat, anything she can do, are continuous conquests for her, divine conquests. I can say that, by living in my will, she breathes with my breathing, moves at my motion, beats with my eternal heartbeat. Therefore she acquires the conquering act in each of her acts. All this is given to her with justice and exuberant love, since by living in our will, not giving life to her will any more, she has to be in the celestial region by right, to delight and enjoy our delightful will. Now, in order to live off of our will on earth, the poor daughter deprives herself of the joys of heaven. This is the most heroic act, the most intense love, by which all heaven, our divinity, and the Queen of Heaven remain wounded. And we love the heroism of this creature. Oh, how much all of us love her. So our love, which lets itself be won by anybody, surrenders to each of her breaths, to every little motion. If she thinks, looks, and speaks with a conquering divine act, the conquests are innumerable. We feel that it is not the creature who breathes and moves, but we ourselves, giving the value that our breath and motion contain, which is the highest that could possibly be conceived. Therefore, this creature is the conqueror of our life and acts. This happy creature, with her conquering act, becomes our continuous expression of love, our very happiness, our rest. Her conquests are continuous seals on our decree of the coming of the kingdom of our will on earth. These conquests shorten the time, and even more, our operating life is not a stranger on earth any more, but it already exists, having formed its kingdom in this lucky creature. Therefore be attentive, never stop, and I will take everything into account, even your breath, to love you more, and to make you do many conquests, one more beautiful than the other. Then he added, My daughter, as the creature donates her will to me in order to live in mine, I, too, give her my will. But do you know what my will does before donating itself? It pours into the act of the creature and embellishes it, forming its day, sanctifying it, inserting its divine joys, and then locking itself inside the act of the creature. As my fiat operates in this act, all created things receive a new life, a new creation. They feel renewed in beauty, love, and joy of their Creator. And as the creature does her divine act, it remains as her own, and everybody is attentive to see what the creature is going to do with this act. Since it encloses all, they too feel enclosed in it. Then, what does the happy creature do? She enjoys it, kissing it and hugging it, and knowing that such a great act cannot be only for herself. In her emphasis of love and joy, she says, "Adorable Will, you gave to me divine will, and divine will I give back to you, to render back to you the appreciation, thanksgiving, glory, joy, and love that you gave to me. I am incapable of containing them." This act runs to all, sanctifying, embellishing, giving happiness and honor to all. This is the most beautiful act the creature can give to me. Nobody can equal this act. To give my will in order to have it returned, and to give it back yet again. Fiat. June 30th, 1938. How true love wants to find itself in the loved one. How our Lord formed many lives to let himself be found. Our field. How knowledge opens all the doors between God and the creature. My poor mind is under the empire of the fiat, which, pulling it to itself, makes it follow all it did for love of the creatures. While I was following the acts of redemption, my sweet Jesus, visiting my little soul, all goodness told me, "Daughter of my will, my love feels the need to open up to one who loves me, and confide to her my most intimate secrets." True love has this virtue of breaking any secret, because it wants to find in the loved one anything it possesses, its own love, its own joys, its same qualities. Love wants to find itself in the loved one. No, my daughter, as I came on earth, my love never gave me rest. As soon as I was conceived, I began to form many ways which served to help the creatures to come to me. As I was forming these ways, I stretched them, but without detaching myself from them. I remained as the center from which each of them started. Therefore, every act, word, thought, and step were ways of light, sanctity, love, virtue, and heroism that I was forming, so that in every act the creature does, she might find the way to come to me. At the head of these innumerable ways, I put my will as queen, while I put myself in waiting at every cross-road to receive her in my arms. But many times I wait in vain. My love does not give me peace or rest, so I put myself on her way in order to reach her, at least halfway. And if I find her, I invest the act of the creature, so I myself become her act and her way. Then, with exuberant love, I cover her, hiding her in my love. I cover her with my very acts, to the extent that I find myself in her, and I carry her to keep her safe in the arms of my will. Therefore, every thought of the creature has the way to my thought. Every word, every work has the way of my works, thoughts, and steps. If she suffers, she has the way and life of my sufferings. If she wants to love me, she has the way of my love. I surrounded creatures with so many of my ways that they cannot escape me. And if someone does escape me, I become delirious. I run, I fly to reach him. I stop only when I find him, and I enclose him in my ways, so as not to let him go again. My coming on earth has been nothing other than the outpouring of my love, repressed for many centuries. It was for this love, reaching excesses, that I formed the new creation, even overcoming it in the variety of my works and the intensity of my love. But my love is still repressed, and to vent it, I want to give my will as life, to give creatures the greatest good I can give, and to receive the great glory of having the children of my will in our kingdom. As the creature enters our will, our joy is such that she gives us the field on which to repeat in her all we have done in the creation and redemption. Our love wants to see in action, as if they were being created, heaven stretching out, the sun resplendent of light, the winds blowing continuously within those who live in our will, waves of grace and love, seas murmuring love, glory, adoration to their Creator. In action, my will repeats the descent of the Word, and my will is the repeater of all that my humanity did in the creature. So, we remain always in the act of operating in her. We never stop, because nothing can possibly be missing in the one living in our will. Our very acts will be our throne, our court, and the very life of the creature. Our love for her seems almost unbelievable. We are all eyes over her, to see whether she is enclosing all and how many times. Because we love her too much, we keep repeating our operating act, placing new beauty and new sanctity over the masterpieces we have done for her. We like to give to her always, keeping her busy under the reign of our operating acts, to give her the occasion to receive more love and to love us more. Therefore, live always in our will, and you will feel in it the continuous outpouring of our love, our operating act, which not only will repeat our works in action, but will also add new things to astonish heaven and earth. After this he added, "My daughter, everybody lives in my will. If they did not, they just wouldn't find a space in which to live. But Who feels our divine life? Who feels surrounded by our sanctity? Who feels the joy of being touched by our creative hands, to be embellished from our very beauty? Who feels drowned inside our love? The one who wants to live in our will, not the one who is there by necessity of creation, merely because of our immensity, which involves everything and everyone. These creatures are there without knowing us, like real usurpers of our goods, like disloyal, ungrateful, degenerate children of their Father. Because they do not know us, they do not love us. They cannot find in themselves a place for our sanctity, our love. Their souls are incapable of receiving our ever-increasing beauty. They give us nothing, not even our rights as Creator. And while they live together in our divine sea, they are as if far away from us. By not knowing us, they build the bars. They shut the doors. They have broken any communication between them and us. It is knowledge which is the first joining link between them and us. It is wanting to live in our will that takes away the bars and opens the doors, to let them come into our arms and delight with us. It is loving us that makes us pour rivers of our love and graces, to the point of covering them with our divine qualities. Without the knowledge, we cannot give anything, neither can they receive. One who lives in our will, instead, knows us. As she enters it, she gives her kiss to her daddy. She hugs us and surrounds us with her little love. So we give her our seas of love, and she exchanges her kisses with all heaven. We can say that the celebrations are opened between us, between heaven and earth. We ourselves call her blessed, and we tell her, "You are the most happy and fortunate creature, because you live in our love, covered by our arms, and under the reign of our graces." Fiat. You have reached the end of the Book of Heaven, Volume 36, Part 7. Fiat.